What's going on, guys? My name is David, and as you guys can see by the title, today I'm going to be giving you guys the full guide on how to actually start dropshipping. And how this video is going to go is basically I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about picking out the perfect product. Then we're going to go through the ad creation, then website creation, and finally I'm going to show you guys how to set up your ads, how to test them, and how to scale them. So with that said, first let's head over to the product criteria and let's answer the first question of what actually makes a winning product. And the first thing that you're going to want to be looking for is, does your product solve a big pain point? And for example, a lot of people tend to have back pain, and a posture corrector is a product that solves this pain point, and this is the types of products that you're going to want to be looking for. The same goes with the other examples that I wrote out: anti-snoring devices, which help with people who snore every single night, and migraine relief caps, which give a relief to people who have migraines and solve a big pain point that a lot of these people have. The second type of criteria that you want to look out for when looking for winning products is, does your product solve a deep insecurity? And a good example can be teeth whitening kits, because they solve the issue of people who have yellow teeth and are scared to show their teeth next to family members, friends, in photos, all that stuff. The same goes with hair growth serums, because a lot of people, especially men after the age of 40, tend to start losing hair, and this is a deep insecurity that they want to solve, and lots of people are affected by this. And the best example in my opinion are shoe insoles, because they solve the insecurity that people have about their height. And the next criteria that you want to look out for is making sure that your product isn't local, which basically means that someone can't just go to the nearest shop, supermarket, and buy it for themselves, because this makes your products lose value. Because why would someone buy the products from you if they can get it cheaper and way faster from the local supermarket? So be sure to keep this in mind. Next is making sure that your products has a high perceived value, and an example of a high perceived value product can be, for example, the posture corrector. And what gives this product a high perceived value is because it solves a big pain point that a lot of people have, which is back pain. And the next thing is deciding whether you want to run a seasonal or evergreen product. And the difference between these two is that seasonal products are products that you run in certain seasons. Like for example, you sell dresses for women in the summer, because why would people buy dresses in the winter? And evergreen products are basically products that you can run the whole year round, and both these have pros and cons, because seasonal products tend to make you more money in a shorter amount of time, but evergreen products tend to give you the same type of income throughout the whole year. And this is the thing that you need to decide when looking for your own product. And finally, when looking for winning products, one thing that a lot of people tend to forget is the product size, and this is very important, because when looking for products, you ideally want to have products that weigh under 2 kilograms and could fit in a shoebox, because if you don't take that into consideration, then when you pick out the products that actually weighs more or is bigger, the shipping price will cost you more, which automatically means that you will have a smaller profit margin. So be sure to keep this in mind. And now that you guys know what makes a winning product, let's move on how to find this product. And over here I've listed out 4 ways on how I personally go about when looking for products. And let's start off with the burner method. And this is a popular method that people used 1 to even 3 years ago. Personally, I don't use it as of today, but I wanted to mention it because it's a free way to find products, and if you do enough research, then you can actually find good products that you could run for yourself. And how this method basically works is you create a new Instagram or TikTok account, and then you follow, like, and comment on other dropshipping stores' pages. And then after you do that for a long enough time, on your For You page you will have new products, and this is basically how the research method works. And this method takes up a lot of time, but if you actually put in the work and spend a few hours every single day looking for products, then you'll finally find one that actually works. The second method that I personally use and also recommend is the Facebook ad library. And how this method basically works is you go to the Facebook ad library, you search up your product or the problem that you want to solve, and then you scroll through the ads that other brands are running. And an important thing is make sure that you look for ads that are actually running as of now and are active, and then you look for competitors and products that they're selling, and then you can actually see what people are running, and then you can establish whether the product is actually worth running because of how long the competitors are actually running them. Because if you see that someone was running a product for 2 or 3 days and then they stopped, this usually means that the product wasn't profitable and that's why they stopped running it. But if you see that someone has been running the products for 2 weeks and they haven't stopped, this is a good sign, because why would someone stop running ads if they're making money? And this is a sign that you should definitely try out to test that product as well. The next method that I used in the past but haven't been using recently because of the popularity is Kilo data, and this is a good method to look for new products, but you have to be fast because a lot of people use Kilo data on a day-to-day basis, so you have to be fast when looking for new products. And the best method in my opinion as of today is using Get Hooked, because in my opinion it's just a better version of Kilo data. less people use it, so the competition is lower, and you can actually filter through good ads and you get higher quality ads, in my opinion. And this way you can find better products to run, and you have ads and competitors, so you can have more intel on the ideal customer profile that you're going to be targeting the ads to. And now that you guys know what makes a winning product and how to find it, let's talk about product sourcing, which is a thing that a lot of people tend to overcomplicate, but it actually is super simple. And basically how I go about this is, if you're just starting out and you have between 0 to 50 sales, then just go with CJ Dropshipping. Don't go with ZenDrop or AutoDS. Go with CJ Dropshipping because it's super simple to set up. You only pay for the products that you ship, and it's super easy to use. You just find the first tutorial on YouTube and you will know how to set up everything, and it's super easy to use. But if you're more advanced and you actually start making sales, over 50 sales, let's say that you're making sales on a day-to-day basis, you're getting 10 sales every single day, then what I would recommend is actually getting a private supplier. And why do I recommend getting a private supplier? Basically, you get faster shipping times, you get better COGS, you get better contacts 24/7, and basically it's CJ Dropshipping but on steroids. And this is how simple it is. Stick to this and you'll be set. And the final thing that I want to talk about are the margins, and basically what are margins? And it's the selling price minus the shipping price, and this is the money that we actually take home. And what you want to look for in margins is having a product that you have a minimum 3x markup on, which basically means if you're getting the products for $10, you're going to want to sell it for at least $30. And why do you want to do that? Because the bigger the profit, the more budget we can spend on ads and the more money we can make in total. And this brings us on to the second point, which is selling your products for minimum $35-40, because this gives you the space to actually have money to ship the product, run ads to it, and actually make a profit. And when you're selling products for around $40 to $60, then you can make more profit, which means more money. Then you can run more ads and you can make even more money. And that's why selling products for $40 is a thing that you should definitely look into. And the final thing, which I also mentioned earlier, is making sure that your product has a high perceived value, because the more value that you can actually show of the product to the customer, the more money you can actually sell it for. And with that said, this is everything that you basically need to know about the product criteria and how to pick out the perfect product. So with that said, let's move on to the ad creation. And the first thing that you're going to want to look out for is the ideal customer profile, the target demographic. And basically the first question that arises is where to actually look for the ideal customer profile and the target demographic. And the best places, in my opinion, are TikTok. And what you basically do is you search up your product's name, see what type of people are making videos about the product, what type of people are commenting under them, and this way you can actually see what type of people are interested in the product and what type of people you're going to want to target. The second way, which is personally my favorite, is Amazon reviews. And what you basically do is you search up your products on Amazon and you open the reviews, and you're going to want to look at both 5-star reviews and 1-star reviews. You're going to want to see what type of people leave 5-star reviews, what type of people leave 1-star reviews, and just basically read through them, because then you'll get an idea of what your ideal customer profile is, what your target audience is. Is your target audience young people or is it elderly people? And Amazon, in my opinion, is the best way to actually do that research. And other ways that I actually also recommend and I also use sometimes are Reddit forums, and this will take up a bit more time, but the research will be way better if you do it over here. And you can also take a look at the ads that the competitor is running, because then you can see what type of people are they targeting, and then you can get an idea of what the ideal customer profile could be for the products that you're selling. And one thing that I also recommend, besides doing the research by yourself, is also asking AI. Once you gather some information, you're going to want to ask AI to help you find the ideal customer profile, and then ask it to search through TikTok, Reddit forums, Amazon reviews. You're going to want to mention all this, as that way you're going to be able to compare what you find and what, for example, Claude found, and then you're going to know what type of audience and what type of people you're going to want to be targeting. And then once the ideal customer profile is set, we're going to move on to the ad creative criteria. And basically you can run 2 types of ads. One are image ads and one are video ads. And for image ads, there are 2 types of ads that I recommend running, and one are native ads, which are top of funnel ads and middle of funnel ads, and then highly edited, high quality ads are bottom of funnel ads. And what this basically means, top of funnel ads are the ads that reach the most amount of people and are very broad. Middle of funnel is people that seen your ad 1 or 2 times and you're trying to make them familiar with your brand and what your mission is with the products that you're selling. And bottom of funnel ads are people who have seen your ads for the last 2 months, they've seen multiple ads, and you just need to give them, for example, a sale or buy two get one free to actually make them convert. And basically, I recommend running both of these types of ads. In the beginning, I would recommend sticking with native ads, and it's easier to actually get people to your store. And to make these native ads, I recommend going with Nano Banana and Google Flow, because it does a fantastic job when making native image ads. And for high quality brand ads, I also recommend going with Nano Banana, with Google Flow, as well as ChatGPT, because they all both do a good job when making images that you could actually run for your ads. And the second type of ads that you can run are video ads, and basically these are the 4 types of ads that I recommend making. And the first one are AI UGC ads, and I've actually made a video that walks you through exactly how to do that for completely free, and it should pop up somewhere on the screen right now. The second type of ad that you can make is basically ripping others, and this is what Kalo ripping is basically you go on Kalo data, you find ads, you download them and you upload them for yourself, and obviously you can make money from this, but on the long term this isn't the best thing to do. But in the beginning, to actually see if the product grabs attention and if you actually get sales, you can do this kind of stuff. Then you can also run AI voiceover ads, and both for AI UGC and for AI voiceover ads, you can use Google OmniFlash, HeyGen, Cdance, Higgsfield, all those websites. They all do a good job when running these types of ads. And finally, you can run no voiceover ads, just aesthetic type ads. And when running ads, you ideally want to test out all of these things out, because you don't know what's going to actually work out. And that's why I recommend going with different types of ads, so you can see what actually hits and then double down on it, so that you can actually make the most amount of money. And when making video ads, the most important thing are going to be the first 5 seconds. If you're not going to want to put effort into the whole video, at least put effort into the first 5 seconds, because these 5 seconds will actually determine whether people will actually want to go on your website and potentially purchase, or just skip the video. So be sure to put in as much effort in the first 5 seconds of your videos. And basically what you do in this first 5 seconds is you call out the problem or the target viewer. For example, if you have back pain, you need to hear this, and this targets older people who have back pain. And if someone actually has this problem, then they're more likely to stop and watch the video the whole way through. The second thing is keep your videos between 8 to 30 seconds long. And next, you're going to want to have new animations, smooth cuts every 4 to 8 seconds, so that there's actually movement and something happening. And you're going to want to keep the videos high paced, keep engagement, and make them just super clean. And then you're going to want to make versions of the same ad by only changing the hook and creating 2 scripts to see what actually hits for you. And when running ads, the winning structure that you should be following is the 4-step one that I use. And basically how it works is, first you give the hook and call out, which is basically you call out the target audience or the problem. Then you describe the problem or give a short story. You explain what problem you had. Then you give a solution, which is basically your product. You showcase your product and tell how the product solved the issue that you had and how it changed everything. And finally, you give a call to action, which is basically telling people that they need to go to the website and get their products before it sells out or something like that. And this is the structure that works for me, and I recommend you guys use it. And the most important and final thing that I want to talk about in the ad creation part is making sure that the copy that you have in your ad creative, you're going to want to make sure that it actually matches the copy that you have on your website. Because think about it, someone actually clicked on your link to go to your website because they actually resonated with the ad itself, and that's why the copy on the website needs to match the copy in your ad creative, because if they match, then there's a bigger chance that someone will want to purchase the product. And with that said, now you guys know how to pick out the perfect product and how to go over the ad creation. Let's actually go over the website creation. And the first thing that you're going to want to do is use the link in the description to get 3 months of Shopify for $1. And once you do that, basically for the homepage, I'm not going to go over it. All you're going to do on the homepage is basically redirect it to the products page. You don't need to put any intention into the homepage, because literally no one will enter it. And the only page that you should be interested in is the products page, because that's where you're actually going to be sending people, and that's why you need to focus 100% of your attention on it. And basically, first let's go over the images. And how I go about this is, when I'm testing a new product, sometimes I just borrow the images of the competitors that actually ran these products before. But if I actually believe in a product and actually think that I can make good money with it, then I basically go over to image generation. I go over to Nano Banana and then change up the images that the competitors have to make them my own. And if I like everything, then I simply use them. But if the images need some editing, then I open up Canva for edits, and that's how I recommend that you guys do this as well. And for the types of images that you actually want to have on your website, first you want to showcase the product image, because that's why someone clicked on your your website because they want to buy the product, and that's why the first image should be the actual product. Then you showcase the product's features that actually solve the problems that the potential customer has. Then you can add a GIF, but this also depends what type of products you're selling and all that stuff. And then my favorite type of image is making a real person and then adding a review on the image, and I'll try to make an image pop up on the screen right now so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. And this also drastically boosts the conversion rate, and I recommend doing these types of images on your websites. And then another type of image that also boosts conversion rate is satisfied customers, which is basically an image of 4 or 12 people holding the product, and then adding a text like 10,000 verified happy customers or something like that. And this is gigantic social proof and will definitely boost your conversion rate. And now that you guys know what types of images you should be using on your website, how many images should you exactly be using? And in my opinion, out of all these images, you should ideally be having on your website between 3 to 5, maybe 6 images, but not more, because you don't want your website to be looking like an AliExpress listing. And usually most of the times, the more images that you have, the more spammier the website looks. And that's why I personally always go with 3 to 6 images, not more. But now that we know what types of images that we want to add, let's actually move on to the copywriting. And for this, as I mentioned earlier, the most important thing is to make sure that the copy on your ad creatives actually matches with the website copy. And to make sure that it actually matches, I recommend just using Claude and making sure that everything, both in the ad creative and the website copy, matches. And it's super simple to do, so don't overthink this, just use AI for the help and make sure that everything looks good. And also remember to don't add too much copy. No one wants to read 10 paragraphs of text of how your product solves their issues. Just give 1 or 2 sentences of how your product solves the problem and you should be set. And one thing that I also follow is a 3-section rule. Just make 3 sections. One can be a comparison table, one just a title, an image and some text, and one section could be videos of real people actually showcasing the products and using it and describing all that stuff. And now we can move on to the offer, and this is one of the most important parts because this will determine whether people actually want to buy your product. And now I'm going to go over the best offers to run, but you need to keep in mind that I'm going to go over all the offers that you could run. But when you actually find your product and actually want to run it, then you need to pick an offer that actually matches your product. Because if you, for example, want to sell a sofa, you're not going to go over to people and say buy 2 get 1 free, because why would someone need 2 sofas or 3 sofas in the house when they only need 1? So make sure that the offer actually matches the product and that they stick together. And basically for the offers that I recommend running is, first, buy 1 get 1 free. Second is buy 1 get 1 50% off. Then my favorite is the complete kit, and what this complete kit thing is basically you sell your main products. For example, I'm selling at football, and then I can give a free PDF on how to learn some skills, and then I can also give a free pair of socks, and this will be the complete kit. And then buy X get Y free. For example, we're selling bras to women, you can say buy 3 get 2 free. So yeah, these are the best offers to run, and you need to pick out an offer that actually matches your product and that you can advertise and actually get the best results. And for the apps that I use when making my websites, for the website design, most of the time in the past I was using Atlas and Elixir theme. Don't use Shrine theme. Everybody tells you to use Shrine theme. It costs $200, and as of today, everyone uses it, so please don't use Shrine theme. Go with Atlas or Elixir. And the best way, in my opinion, as for today, is just simply going with Claude and making your website through coding in Claude. And this will give you guys the best result. And I've also actually made a video on this, and it should pop up some on the screen right now, so be sure to check it out, as it costs literally $0, and you get a better result than using themes like Atlas and Elixir. And then for the bundles, the only app that I've been using for the past 3 years is Kitchen Bundles, and this is the app that I recommend that you guys also use. Then for the reviews, just use Luke's reviews. And other important apps that I also wanted to mention are upsell and post-purchase apps, and be sure to use these apps because these can drastically improve your conversion rate and the profit that you actually make, especially post-purchase apps. Then for disputes, use Disputify or Chargeflow. Then SEO Optimizer, make sure to use this because you don't want your website to be loading up 30 minutes, you want it to be loading up in 2 seconds. And then finally, email marketing, and you're gonna want to use this especially after you go over the 50 sale mark, because this means that you're running the products, you're actually making sales, and it's actually worth trying out email targeting and email marketing, because this can also increase your profit drastically. So be sure to keep this in mind. And now finally, for the final part, let's go over the ads. And now I'll start over with the setup, then we'll move on to the testing and scaling. And for the setup, basically, once you pick out whether you want to make video ads or native ads, then you head over to Meta, because we're going to be running ads on Meta, and you set the budget on a $100 CBO. CBO is campaign budget optimization, and this basically means that on the campaign level, the AI picks which ads it thinks it will do best, and it allocates the budget to them. And under the CBO, you're going to want to have one ad set per ad, which basically means that if you have 10 creatives, then you're going to want to have 10 ad sets, and it's super simple. And for the targeting, you're going to want to leave it all broad and targeting the country that you want. In my instance, it's going to be the US, and this is basically the full setup. Super simple, not overcomplicating it or anything. Then for the testing, you're going to want to test 3 days, and how I go about this is on the first 2 days. On day 1, I spend $100 and make no changes, and on the second day, I also spend $100. But if after $70, you get no add to carts, no initiate checkouts, even no clicks on your website, basically no motion, then you can turn the ads off. But if you have some add to carts, initiate checkouts, clicks, then you let the ads running. And if you have sales, then you especially let the ads running for one more day. And then on day 3, you also leave the budget at $100. And if you get no sales, then you cut the ads, and you either change up the whole strategy for the product or go searching for a new one, and that's pretty much it. But if you actually start making sales, then you move on to scaling and optimizing. And I'm not going to go over scaling in full, because this could be a whole video on itself. So I'm going to give you guys a simple strategy that I used when I was starting out. And basically how it works is you let the ads run, and if the ads do good, then every 2 or 3 days you scale up by 20%. So for example, I had a budget of $100, then after 2 or 3 days the ads are doing good, I bump the budget to $120. Then after a few days they're doing good, I get 20% of $120, which is, let's say, $24, and I bump the budget up by $24 more, which is $144, and I go up all the time until I reach a peak. But if the ads do mid, which basically means that they're not making more sales, they're not making less sales, then you want to pay attention. And if they start doing bad, you scale down by 20%. If they start doing good, you scale up by 20%. But if the ads do bad, then you're going to want to turn them off and make new ads and then run those ads. And this is basically the whole strategy. And the most important thing in scaling is that you're going to want to make changes accordingly. You're going to want to let the ads run for at least 24 hours, and then you're going to want to make decisions based on data and not emotions. And a thing that I also wanted to mention are KPIs, which are key performance indicators. And before I go over them, please don't get too attached to these numbers, because the most important thing is getting the sale. And if none of these KPIs hit but you're making sales, then you should leave the ads as they're doing good, because they're making you money. But the KPIs that you should be looking out for are ROAS. You're going to want to use a calculator for this, and ideally the lower the ROAS you have of the products, the better. But the higher the ROAS that you have on your ads, the better. For example, you have a 1.4 ROAS on your products, but on your ads you have a 2.8 ROAS, which basically means that on $1 spent you're making $2.8. So you're good. Then for the cost per acquisition, you're going to also want to use a calculator. For the CPC, which is cost per click, you're going to want to have it between $1 to $3, but ideally under $1. For the click-through rate, you're going to want to have it between 2 to 5%, ideally over 5%. For the add to carts, ideally 5 to 10%, and for the hook rate, 40 to 60%. And as I said earlier, please don't get too attached to these numbers. I'm just giving you guys these numbers so that you actually know what to look for when actually scaling or testing or just running your ads, as these are the KPIs of how they usually look and how should they be looking. But remember, the most important thing is getting a sale, because for example, if you get a cost per click of $5 and a click-through rate at 1%, but you get a sale, then you let the ads run. Because the most important thing that we're optimizing for is just getting sales. And with that said, this is basically the full guide on how to start dropshipping. And I also wanted to mention one thing that can also help you out. And basically, all the tools that I mentioned today, which is Claude, Kalo Data, Get Hooked, Nano Banana, you can get access to all these tools and 26 more that are valued at over $3,500 in one place for just $30. and the tool is called Luxury Tools, and it will be linked in the description below, and you can get access to it for just $30 per month, which is nothing compared to the value that you get. And with the code GOLD10 you can actually get 10% off, so be sure to check them out. And with that said, this is basically the full walkthrough on how you guys can get started with dropshipping today, and I promise you that if you actually follow through on this, then I guarantee that you will definitely be able to get your first few sales and start going. And if you guys have any questions, then you can message me on IG at David Goldfinch. And with that said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to let me know what types of videos you want to see next on the channel. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.